And that kind of leads into the next question, so here we go. Your website talks about Kundalini, but you keep talking about the path. Why is that? Doesn't Kundalini just naturally take things from start to finish? No.
That's the answer.
It could maybe in lifetimes. Do you want to spend lifetimes in phenomena and dead ends? And, you know, the mind is very creative and can continue to create a lot of dramas, a lot of phenomena, astral realms, entities, etc., lights, powers, etc., 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 ongoing. This could go on for lifetimes if you don't have the direction and a way to cut through and understand what it's there to do. Now, if you're not working to cut through things, Kundalini can continue just to create more and more phenomena. Okay? Like the tantric texts say, that it can either take you to liberation or into greater delusion. And when you're trying to do it on your own, I guarantee you will go into a lot of delusion. I know from experience. 10 years, 15 years, 20 years, 25 years, 30 years. You wouldn't want to experience some of the things that I experienced along the way. This is why gurus give the grace and do the Seva to help humanity to get through this. Because I experienced absolute states of suffering that no one would ever want to experience. You don't have to feel the weight of the suffering of the world. I guarantee it's not something you would want to feel, because you cannot even take the next breath. It is so painful. If you begin to identify with things like the suffering of Christ, I guarantee you can experience it, and you don't want to experience it. Trust me on this. If your mind latches on and you start to identify things, Kundalini will run with it, and it will be very creative. You want to experience the astral realms. Oh, you could experience lots of astral realms, and you can find some really nasty things there that you don't want to see. But these are all fabrications within one's own mind. But they will appear to be very, very real. So therefore, the gurus go forward and want to give that compassion, because we understand exactly what all can happen in this type of a path. And we want to give you the tools so that you can break through, so you can move through consciously as easily as possible and not have to do it the harder way. Now, if you're convinced that once Kundalini starts, you can do it all on your own, please be my guest and find out there's the hard way and the harder way. My suggestion is you just take the hard way rather than the harder way. It's also no joke that the texts speak of madness and death, and we're not here to frighten anyone, but yeah, you can go crazy. If your mind is latching onto stuff and you're creating all of this drama and realms and entities and all of this other stuff, it will continue to create until you can find the way out through, that you don't have to do that. Okay? This is why we talk about eating meat, so you don't burn yourself out and burn out the nervous system and short-circuit it. Because the energy can be so strong. At one point in my journey, I thought it was going to spontaneously combust. And this stayed in place for some time. And that was no joke. So this is why I give the balanced breath, so that people don't have to go through those states like I went through, because I didn't have a guru. At that time, when my Kundalini became active, there were no gurus here working with people. There was nothing out there. The only thing that was out there was the one with Lee Sanella that was talking a bit about Kundalini. And the other one was out there was Gopi Krishna, which I had a lot of all the manifestations he had and all the pain, but it didn't give you any kind of guidance how to get through it. It was just basically, you're screwed, okay? And I had no wife there to take care of me and pamper me through it, okay? So yeah, it's a fallacy that, once Kundalini gets activated, it's going to do everything for me. Because what people don't understand is it's still filtering through ego. And ego is still going to find a way to put a spin and a twist on it. Okay? So you have to understand the process and what it's there to do. And have to have a way to put into place practices which will aid in it moving forward in as smooth a manner as possible. So this is why I talk about the path. People talk about Kundalini Yoga. Well, Kundalini Yoga is not a path. This is a path where you get Shaktipat and you get guidance. Kundalini Yoga, you have teachers that are teaching. They've got 200 hours or so of instruction. They're giving you some philosophy. They're unfortunately giving this fire breath, which if it's done and your Kundalini's awakened and the channels aren't balanced, you can have a really difficult time. So Kundalini Yoga is a misnomer. It's there to try to activate Kundalini, but then they don't know what to do with it. I've had Kundalini Yoga teachers contact me, and one person was the head of a Kundalini Yoga, so-called path, and was terrified, didn't know what to do. But yet, their ego couldn't allow them to come, because they couldn't, they didn't want their students to find out that they didn't actually know anything about Kundalini. See, it's like backwards. The Hatha Yoga, they're taught the positions, the asanas, and here, when Kundalini awakens, you spontaneously do the asanas you need to do to move it forward. So it's a totally different thing.